Good morning, my name is Dieter de Waele and I work with driver development at Volvo Trucks. And I will take you through how to maximize the range on your electric truck. You as a driver can do several things to help improve the range of your electric truck. Knowing what those things are becomes even more important during winter time, when less good road conditions and lower temperatures impact the range of your truck in a negative way. But that knowledge is just as useful during any other time of the year, or when driving a diesel truck. To start the day in the best possible way, make sure to program the feature ready to run so that both the batteries and the cab are warmed up before you start your shift. You can do that either in the side display inside the truck or using the app My Truck. If you can, keep your truck connected to a charger so that you warm up the cab and the batteries using energy from the grid rather than from your batteries. That way you start the day with a warm and fully charged truck. Now, as I just mentioned, ready to run has made the cab nice and warm. But keep in mind that every degree of heat in an electric truck needs to be created by the batteries using one of these. So to keep the heat inside and save energy, try to keep windows and doors closed as much as possible. To maximize energy efficiency while driving, we recommend that you have the auxiliary brake lever in position A as much as possible, use drive mode standard, and have the I-shift gearbox in the automatic mode. That way you have access to all the energy saving features on your truck, such as the predictive cruise control IC, the free rolling function iRoll, and regenerative braking, which sends some energy back to the batteries. If you want to maximize energy savings even more, you can always push the mode button to switch the truck into drive mode range. That way, all energy saving features are still available, but with somewhat more extreme settings. That will help you to maximize your range even more. Volvo trucks are packed with energy saving features. But you as a driver play a vital role to actually make those energy savings happen. An easy way to trick yourself into driving efficiently is imagining that you have a full cup of coffee that you put on the dashboard. It's your task to make sure the coffee stays in the cup while driving. As a natural reflex, you will probably avoid accelerating and braking harshly, right? You will also slow down more before you go into turns. Now, this approach will not only help you improve your efficiency, but it will also reduce wear and tear on your truck. Use the power meter to help you keep the coffee in the cup. Try to keep the needle in the middle as much as possible, because that means that you're not accelerating harshly or braking harshly. Talking about accelerating and braking. If we first look at accelerating, how you accelerate is not as important as where you accelerate. Try not to accelerate in an uphill, but keep a steady speed. Instead, delay the acceleration until you get to a flat stretch of road, or even better, do it in a downhill and let gravity help you. The real boost for your energy efficiency, however, lies in braking efficiently. Each time you approach a roundabout, traffic light, motorway exit, try to be proactive and release the accelerator or switch off the cruise control as early as possible. Let the truck roll rather than breaking away the speed that you have built up. So rolling is always the cheapest. But we know that we don't live in a perfect world and sometimes you do need to brake. There are basically two scenarios where you need to brake. One when driving downhill and the other one when you're approaching roundabouts or traffic lights, for example. Let's start with downhill. Now, for safety reasons, you want to control the speed in the downhill, right? The best way of doing that is using the electric motors rather than using the service brakes, because that way you will maximize the energy that you send back to the batteries. That's the so-called regenerative braking. The key is to start your descent at a slow enough speed, so that the electric motors can actually hold the speed and won't need support from the service brakes. There are several ways of controlling your speed in the descent. By lowering your set cruise control speed and overspeed, by activating downhill cruise, or by using tap to brake. As long as you start your descent at a low enough speed, all of these work. Remember though that when your batteries are close to 100%, the regenerative braking force will be lower because there's simply no capacity left to store that recovered energy. The second scenario where you might need to brake is the one where you approach roundabouts and traffic lights and so on. Again, rolling saves most money and energy. So the earlier you can start rolling, the better. When you come to the point where you actually need to brake, remember, try not to spill the coffee in the cup. Be gentle on the brake pedal and spread the braking over a long distance. That way you will maximize the energy you send back to the batteries. Once you start pushing the brake pedal harder, the service brakes kick in, so try to avoid that. Another way of slowing down is gently tapping the brake pedal with the auxiliary brake lever in position A. One tap gives you a certain amount of regenerative braking force. If that's not enough, you can tap a second time to increase that braking force. To fine-tune that regenerative braking force, use the accelerator pedal. Once you push the accelerator pedal hard enough so the power meter goes into the positive side again, you have deactivated the tap to brake function. Finally, you can also slow down by putting the auxiliary brake lever into position 1. Just as with the tap to brake function, you can then fine-tune the braking force by pushing the accelerator pedal. Keep in mind that regenerative braking starts to be counterproductive if you start rolling less, but braking and accelerating more. Whatever you do, keep the coffee in the cup. When you're not driving or using a PTO, have a habit of switching your truck off. Electric trucks are pretty much completely silent, and there's also no vibrations coming from the idling diesel engine anymore. So it's easy to miss that the truck is still on. When driving on cruise control, IC is your biggest ally for energy efficiency. Lean back and let the system work its magic, especially when it puts the truck in neutral and lets the speed drop while rolling over the top of a hill, because that's where you make the biggest energy savings. So don't override the system by pushing the accelerator. Just lean back and enjoy the ride. What you should think about is how fast you actually need to drive to get your work done, rather than always setting the same cruise control speed out of a habit. The faster you drive, the more you're fighting against wind resistance and the more energy you consume. For example, when an FH 4x2 tractor like this one, with 35 tons gross combination weight, is driving on a national road and slows down from 70 to 69 km per hour, its range increases with about 1%. So every kilometer counts. Also, when you drive in urban areas, lower your speed. The speed limit isn't a target. Just go with the flow of traffic and keep your distance. Trying to push the traffic in front of you never works. It only increases stress, risk for accidents, and your energy consumption. At the end of the day, put the truck on charge again and double check that Ready to Run is programmed for the next morning, so that you or your colleague can start the day with a warm and fully charged truck, just like me this morning. Thank you for watching.